Good afternoon. This is our Thursday afternoon update on Hurricane Michael from the Emergency Operations Center. My name is Kevin Peters. I'm the Emergency Management Director for Leon County. Yesterday, Hurricane Michael made landfall in the Florida Panhandle near Mexico Beach as a very strong Category 4. For Leon County, we experienced tropical storm force wind gusts up to 71 miles per hour. We experienced over 7 hours of sustained tropical storm force winds. Today, we begin our transition from response to recovery. We'll continue coordinating our response with our community partners and the State Emergency Management Agency. We continue to maintain our shelters for those that have been displaced. And we look into the future as we take on our recovery activities, beginning the process of clearing our roadways for community safety and getting out and beginning our damage assessment process. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Chairman Nick Maddox, Chairman of the Leon County Commission, for some comments on Leon County's activities.
Thank you, Kevin. First things first, I think we must put this in perspective. We have some people without power here in Leon County. About 95%, I believe, Mr. Mayor, of our grid is down. Lines are mangled. There's parts of our town that when you look at the power lines, you can't even recognize them as power lines. But to put that in perspective, Panama City and Mexico City Beach is destroyed. Absolutely destroyed. We should count ourselves fortunate that though we did sustain winds of about 71 miles an hour, that we are not in the place of those folks in those two areas. And I ask that you be patient with us, but be prayerful for them. Our hearts go out to those folks who may never be able to return because of their loss of homes, businesses that were destroyed there. But most of all, the time it's going to take for them to get back to some sense of normalcy in those areas. We pray for them. I'm proud of the response of the citizens here in Leon County, in the city of Tallahassee. You listened when we spoke. A few weeks back, we had our preparedness press conference, and for the most part, our community as a whole was prepared. 1,500 people left their homes and went for refuge in 7 shelters. We appreciate you heeding our warning and doing those things. And even still, we will have a long time before we can call ourselves recovered. I'm most proud of the city and their response to our power lines and the way that they've had their mutual agreements in place, and how what we saw last night through some videos as mangled lines have become to resemble a power system in our community. Mr. Mayor, I thank you for the hard work in the City Commission and your staff for the work that you put in thus far and making sure that we can have our power back as soon as possible. I know a lot of you are still out there without power. But if you're able to ride around town, if you're able to see some videos online, you will know that people are working really hard to get you back to a place where you have power. And we should be appreciative of that. We experienced close to a Category 5 hurricane. Sustained winds of about 155 miles per hour once it hit land. Our staffs are working hard to get you back to some normalcy, as I said before. We've had folks here in the EOC 24 hours a day since this thing has started. Those people need to be commended for staying here, sleeping overnight, making sure that we're communicating, getting all the information out that we can, and coordinating between the local government, state government, to make sure that we can recover as soon as possible, but make it through this storm as well. This was, again, an unprecedented thing that we've experienced. This is something that years from now, when you have grandchildren, if you have young children now, that you'll be able to tell them that you were here to endure something like this. Again, I think we said it many times before that we haven't experienced anything like this since 1851. And hopefully this community won't have to experience anything like this for another 100 or 200 years. But I'm proud of the way this community stood up. I'm proud of the way that as I watch videos today, that neighbors are going by each other's houses and cutting ways for people to get out of their neighborhoods, and making sure that their neighbors are safe, even though they don't know them. That's a type of Tallahassee and Leon County that I'm used to seeing and that I'm proud to be a part of. We will make it through this, as I said before, but keep those folks in Panama City and Mexico City Beach that have a long way to recover. I think the number I heard was, if you put the numbers together, about $10 billion worth of recovery efforts. Keep those folks in your prayers and in your thoughts. Thank you. Mr. Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to align myself with those comments of thoughts and prayers and well wishes for our coastal neighbors who have had their lives really torn apart as a result of Hurricane Michael. I want to quickly acknowledge a couple of my colleagues here. Obviously, we have the county administrator, city manager, city attorney here. Also, you'll hear from a number of our speakers, but the chiefs of fire, of police, and of EMS, along with State Representative Lorraine Osley, City Commissioner Scott Maddox, and Mayor Pro Tem Mr. Curtis Richardson. You'll hear from the sheriff following my remarks. As the chairman just indicated, I do think that we can count ourselves exceedingly blessed in this community, considering that we all woke up thinking that we might be encountering a Category 4 storm coming directly into our community. That being said, although we didn't get a direct hit, the damage caused by that storm to our system has been significant. There are no reported serious injuries as a result of the storm, and I believe there may have been 3 EMS call-outs to help extract individuals who had trees come down. We have reported thousands of trees down, which have caused widespread power outages throughout our community, blocking roads, and in some cases keeping people confined to their homes and their driveways because of those downed trees. We've seen significant damage that has occurred to our transmission system, our substations, as well as our distribution system. More than 90% of our utility customers are without power, and obviously there are crews working as we speak, and so those percentages may change. Road clearing at this point is our main objective to the day. We want to make sure that there is clear passage through our neighborhoods and of course on all of our major roadways to ensure that people are able to move, our emergency vehicles are able to move, and people are able to move about this community. I'll reiterate, if you don't have a reason to be on the streets today, please keep yourselves in your homes and your neighborhoods, in your respective community. We don't want to do anything to impede the progress of our utility companies and other government workers being able to get out and do their job. Repairs to transmission lines, substations, and distribution circuits are underway and are occurring in this case simultaneously. So instead of get one done, get the other, and get the third done, we have been able to stage assistance, utility support from over, I believe now, 16 utilities from across the country, maybe the farthest away being from Nebraska. Those folks are right now out on our lines. Staff remains proactively engaged with nursing homes and assisted living facilities to restore electric utility and backup generation as soon as possible. We had 88% of our pump stations off the power grid system. An estimated 150,000 gallons spilled from our wastewater stations during the storm. It has been reported to the Florida Department of Environmental Protection. Pumping station 85 has experienced problems, and the details of that issue has not yet been reported back to us. It is under review at this time. Growth Management has established an online permitting portal and permitting process that will provide additional layers of flexibility during this post-storm period so that we don't lose ground in our growth management department. Fire stations 1, 2, 3, 4, and 9 all have bottled water and are open now and available to citizens to access. We have also been in touch with a couple of private companies in our community who are also going to be preparing to announce water being available. They won't make those announcements until we have more significant clearing of our roadways. The Truesdale Aquatic Center will open as our first comfort station at 1 p.m. and it does include showers at that location. The Robinson Truesdale pool facilities at Dade Street Community Center will be open for showers beginning at 1 p.m. today. Staff is planning a movie night at Cascades Park on Saturday night to include food trucks. More details will be released on that. We obviously want to offer our community an opportunity to come together as we continue to recover as one from this storm. In anticipation of a presidential emergency declaration, staff is monitoring to ensure departments are following all FEMA requirements to minimize any of our federal reimbursement issues. We've also, prior to the storm, been advertising the Longest Table, which is scheduled for this Sunday, and that event is still on the calendar. We're hopeful that we'll be able to continue that community building event on this upcoming Sunday. Finally, just want to say again how extremely fortunate and blessed we are as a community, that the impact of this storm was not greater, and that we did not in our community experience loss of life. At the same time, our hearts do go out to two of our neighboring counties where there has been reported loss of life in this storm event. We are hopeful that the sooner we can get our community up, the quicker we can be of aid to our neighbors along the coast, who are certainly going to be relying on us as a partner in this region to assist them in what will likely be a pretty long and enduring recovery process. With that, I finally want to thank all of the dedicated staff of the EOC, the community leaders that you see standing alongside me, who have done a remarkable job over these last several days, losing sleep, overnighting here, leaving their families to make sure that they could be in place to respond to the needs of this community. And with that, I want to invite forward the Sheriff of Leon County, Sheriff Walt McNeil.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The devastation in Bay County and what we've seen in Gaston County and Jackson County, our hearts and our prayers go out to those communities and to my colleagues in those communities who are right now dealing with horrific outcomes of that of Hurricane Michael. As the mayor indicated, we are right now in the throes of trying to assist. In fact, we have our mobile command vehicle is on the way to Jackson County right now. Jackson County lost their headquarters, so did the Panama City Police Department lose its headquarters building, and we're in the process of doing everything we can. While we take care of the citizens here in Leon County, we are also doing everything we can to assist in those communities as well. I tell you this afternoon, I am extremely proud of the citizens of Leon County. We asked you to do some certain things to prepare for the storm, and you absolutely did that. And as I surveyed the damage in our community, drove into some of our neighborhoods, I was delighted to see citizens out with your chainsaws, helping neighbors, making sure that your neighbors were taken care of. They got the things that they needed, water, sharing, whatever you had. That's the Leon County, that's the Tallahassee that I know and I love. And thank our citizens for all you do. As we said on yesterday, this storm is not necessarily over, because now we start the recovery phase of this effort. And in that regard, what the mayor and what the chairman said are so true. We are encouraging and asking and pleading that if you don't have a reason to be on the roadways, please stay home, realizing that in some instances you don't have power and it's a challenge for us, but we still need you to hang there with us, hang tough with us, so that we can get those power crews into those neighborhoods and restore the electric lines. And we can only do that with your help. So again, we're asking that you stay home, stay off the streets, and allow us to do the job that we have to do in terms of recovery. You should know that there are dangerous situations out there. There are lines and there are trees. In some cases, you see trees that are hanging over on power lines. The power lines are actually holding the tree up. And I see in some cases we're driving under those lines and around those trees, and those are putting yourselves in harm's way. Ask again that we not do that if we can avoid it. I also want to thank my colleagues here at all our first responders. In fact, I reached out to our first responders and asked, what are some of the things that the citizens need to know from your perspectives? And here's what the fire chief and EMS director and Chief DeLeo shared with me. One, obviously, in this recovery stage, there are persons who will take advantage of us. There are people who will now unlicensed tree cutters and repair persons. So be aware of that. Understand that everybody out there isn't necessarily coming to help. Don't let that element sneak in. Work with your local officials, work with us, and call us and let us know if you've got any questions about these persons who are asking to come in your neighborhood and help. Secondly, you've got generators. Many of you have generators out there. Make sure you're running those generators outside, not inside your garage, not inside your homes, making sure that they're outside and done correctly. When your power comes back on, we're telling you that now so that you can be prepared. You got to make sure that your generator is not energized when the power comes back on. And from EMS, 19 total units have been out there answering calls, responding to calls on a very routine basis, which means we've got some people with medical issues in our communities. Just be aware of those medical concerns as we're trying to get in to you to help. Like I said before, this is the recovery stage of our response. And in recovery, we need all of your assistance. We have something in the neighborhood about 300 Leon County Sheriff deputies. I spoke to the police chief, DeLeo. The police department has another 300, maybe 400 officers ready to respond in our communities, trying to make sure we do everything we can to restore the calm that we're all used to. But again, as I take my seat and move away, I have to reiterate, we need your assistance. We need you to stay vigilant. I know the sun is shining. It looks beautiful outside. You want to get out there and get on the roadways. But be patient with us. Let us do our jobs, and we can all be safer here in Leon County. And with that, I'll bring back Kevin Peters.
All right, thank you, Sheriff, and thank you to all of the speakers this morning. So to summarize, Leon County and Tallahassee, we enter the phase of recovery. That involves our assessing the damages, clearing our debris, and restoring our community. Additionally, for emergency management, we go back to being prepared. Hurricane season is not over. We must maintain a watch on the tropics and the Atlantic as we have another month and a half to go. For those of you at home, we encourage you to continue following the messages we had before the storm. Stay safe. Clean up with caution, whether it's the physical work you're doing or, as the sheriff mentioned, hiring contractors to help clean up. Use caution as you go through that process. Continue to help your neighbors and stay informed with information on our recovery activities and ways you can help other members of our region recover from the storm. With that concludes our press conference for this afternoon. Our speakers will be available for one-on-one questions following the press conference. Thank you.